Hey guys, Aaron CybertronVGC here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the online VGC Series 1 ladder in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and provide live commentary as I go. In this video, I'm going to be featuring a team that peaked at rank number 5 on the online ladder, featuring some very interesting sets, including PAWMOT with Revival Blessing and Focus Sash, as well as a Sitrus Berry, Leech Seed, Charm, Giga Drain, Arboliva. The team centers around just using some of the strongest attackers that you have available to you: Choice Band Dragonite with Giga Impact, Tera Blast, Poison, Choice Specs Hydreigon, as well as Assault Vest Kingambit. And the idea is that you can get more value than normal out of those Pokemon because PAWMOT can use Revival Blessing to heal them back up. So yeah, I saw this team, saw it peaked so high up on the ladder and thought I had to try it out. And I think PAWMOT, of course, just enables new strategies in Scarlet and Violet with Revival Blessing. So as always, I'll do a quick breakdown of the team, but if you want to just skip to the battles, check out the timestamps down below. And thank you so much as always for watching. If you enjoy, it'd really mean a lot if you consider leaving a like on the video or subscribing. Really helps me and the channel out a ton. But thanks as always for joining me, and let's talk about this team. First of all, a huge thank you to Picasso Poki for the team. They're a Japanese player, and I mentioned that they got ranked number 5 on the ladder with this exact team. And so yeah, rental and paste are down in the description below if you want to try it out yourselves. And question of the day, with PAWMOT having Revival Blessing, I want to know what other Pokemon or strategies you think work well with this move down in the comment section below. So let's just dive right into things. Now, first of all, PAWMOT's a Pokemon that's popped up a little bit more in usage recently. I've seen some very high-level players utilize it to very good success. I think a lot of the teams that I've seen with it are generally paired with Dondozo Tatsugiri, and the idea is to be able to heal your Dondozo back up, and so effectively have it twice in a battle. And so that's one of the main use cases I've seen so far. This team doesn't have Dondozo or Tatsugiri. The idea behind PAWMOT instead is to basically just get more value out of some really strong attackers in Kingambit with the Assault Vest, Choice Specs Hydreigon, as well as Choice Band Dragonite. PAWMOT also is just, a really nice fake out user. Like, I feel like fake out just isn't as popular in this format as previous formats, whether it be because of, the introduction of Ghost Terra and Covert Cloak, as well as, I think, just not that many strong fake out users existing in the first place, as well as Indeed, Psychic Terrain existing in the format. So, all that being said, I think PAWMOT is a really effective fake out user, and it's really nice to just shut down really hyper offensive teams that don't carry Protect as often. So, the moveset here is Fake Out, Close Combat, Nuzzle, and Revival Blessing. Nuzzle is really nice for speed control because, as you'll notice, this team doesn't really have that much natural speed control. In fact, the only way you can control the speed is through Nuzzle from PAWMOT. And so this just allows you to paralyze something and allow things that are a little bit slower, like Hydreigon, like Dragonite, to outspeed subsequently. And of course, you're mainly using it for Revival Blessing. You've got the Ghost Terra here, which is pretty nice. So that actually prevents opposing fake outs, which is sweet. And Focus Sash is really valuable, especially in the late game. I feel like I've often had scenarios where PAWMOT essentially will come out in the end game, and my opponent essentially can't KO it before it gets the Revival Blessing off, thanks to it having Focus Sash. So this is a really nice item on it. So to talk about the sweepers on this team, we've got Kingambit. This is just an Assault Vest set. AV Kingambit's been really popular. The one thing to call out here is that it actually has Supreme Overlord rather than Defiant, and that's because with this team, like, Kingambit often will just come out in the end game and sweep, and so you just get more value out of Supreme Overlord generally rather than Defiant. And so yeah, the extra little bit of damage can go a long way. You've also got Choice Specs Hydreigon. This is just timid, max speed with Snarl as well as Tera Blast. And so, yeah, Poison Tera is really nice, specifically into Fairy-type Pokemon, as well as, for example, Grass-type Pokemon. You can catch them off guard with this combination, of course. And it's also really good into things like Grimmsnarl, which I guess classifies as a Fairy-type Pokemon, but point being is you can get surprise one-hit knockouts onto things that normally don't expect to faint to you. You've got Choice Band Dragonite here. Choice Band Dragonite's interesting. This thing was really common in the beginning of Scarlet and Violet, and that's, before the VGC rules were actually announced, and people were combining it with Shampoo to decrease your opponent's defenses. But I think it's actually, like, people have really stopped using Dragonite, especially the Choice Band set, nearly as much, but it's still really good. This is a pretty unique set. The main thing to call out here is that it actually has Giga Impact. This is so powerful. Like, normal Tera Giga Impact will one-shot so many Pokemon, and they're rarely going to see it coming. And I think with this team, you can get away with it, because the problem with using a move like Giga Impact is that then Dragonite is just left completely exposed the next turn. So yeah, your opponent can just KO Dragonite. But the thing is, with PAWMOT on the team, you can afford to maybe sacrifice Dragonite if you're getting a big knockout in return, and then PAWMOT can just, bring Dragonite back up, basically, with the Revival Blessing, and then you can just come out and either go for another Giga Impact or just start using extreme speeds for the late game. So I think it's really interesting where, like, PAWMOT with Revival Blessing, I feel like, enables this to work a little bit stronger. Finally, to round out the team, you've got Arboliva, and this is max HP, max defense with Seed Sower, Sitrus Berry, and a Fire Tera. As you can see, it's a fairly defensive moveset with Leech Seed, Giga Drain, Charm, and Protect, and so This is interesting into a lot of physical attackers, especially something like Dondozo. For example, if you're able to like paralyze Dondozo with the PAWMOT, then Arboliva can just come out, Leech Seed, and then just like kind of continue to steal HP from Dondozo while also decreasing its attack via Charm and healing back via Giga Drain. And so this thing isn't like going to, you know, pick up big one-hit knockouts, obviously, which a lot of the other Pokemon on this team is kind of designed to do. Instead, it's going to stay on the field for a long time, sustain for a long time, heal back between Sitrus Berry, Leech Seed, and Giga Drain, and being able to surprise charm your opponent, I think, is also really cool. Finally, you've got Quiver Dance Volcarona as the final Pokemon. I think Volcarona is something that's been picking up a little bit in usage and, you know, has good coverage into a lot of Pokemon. For example, Golden Go is still quite common, and so being able to resist the Make It Rain and retaliate back with Heat Wave is valuable. You have Grass Terra with Giga Drain here, so have Surprise Grass coverage with this, and the idea is that you can sustain for a good amount between Leftovers and Giga Drain as well as Protect here. So, yeah. A lot of different ways that you can play with the team. I often like just going with the combination of the offense, like Kingambit, Hydreigon, Dragonite. PAWMOT is a you know, early game fake out user is effective. Just keep in mind that if you bring out PAWMOT early, consider whether or not you'll be able to get Revival Blessing off in the end game. You don't always need to get Revival Blessing off, but of course it's just a very nice tool that this team has. You even go with like PAWMOT Volcarona, fake out into Quiver Dance, and then really go from there. Switch out PAWMOT, conserve it, and then Revival Blessing later on. So part of what I've been trying to understand while using this team is how to fully effectively make use of PAWMOT here. So yeah, that's it for the breakdown. Let's quickly talk about some weaknesses. So in terms of weaknesses, there are a couple of things that I've run into that have given me problems. First of all, you'll notice that there's no Protect on Kingambit, Hydreigon, or Dragonite, so all of the attackers can be fairly easily targeted, especially if you're going up against this team, so you can play towards that. And one other thing is that you've got the Choice Specs on the Hydreigon, the Choice Band on Dragonite. Now, that allows you to pick up these big one-hit knockouts, but it also means that if you end up whiffing an attack, let's say like I go for Choice Specs Dracometer into a Protect, then I'm left in a much more awkward position in the next turn, right? And because I'm locked into that attack. So you can use the fact that they have choice items to your advantage, and as soon as they commit an attack, you know exactly what they're going to go for in subsequent turns, unless they switch out, for example. And so yeah, the lack of Protect makes things challenging. I think the lack of, or the commitment to choice items can make things a little bit trickier as well. Redirection has been something that I think has been strong for my opponents in some of the games I've run into, where it's like, PAWMOT's really nice, for example, when it gets the Nuzzle onto the right Pokemon, but when there's something like an Amoonguss or an Indeedee and it can just redirect that away, it's kind of annoying. And so I normally try to KO the redirection users like sooner than later. But yeah, that can be kind of a nuisance. And there are situations where like PAWMOT, Arboliva, and Volcarona, like they can deal decent damage, but they also might just be completely walled. Like Kingambit, Hydreigon, Dragonite generally are doing good damage across the board, but these Pokemon are a little bit more situational. So I've had positions where things feel like a little bit passive, but I really want to make the switch out into Kingambit, Hydreigon, or Dragonite, because then it might just take a lot of damage in return. I think one other thing to call out here is kind of the lack of natural speed control outside of the Nuzzle here. And so it can be a little bit tough if you're going against teams that can just outpace you immediately and then just pick up big knockouts, right? So yeah, that's one thing to watch out for as well, whether it be like opposing Tailwind or opposing Trick Room. Now, PAWMOT obviously has Fake Out, so it can stop that a little bit. For example, if you're up against Murkrow, you can just Fake Out Murkrow immediately, go for something like the Banded Extreme Speed, and then Band Extreme Speed again, potentially for a KO next turn. But yeah, like speed control is something to watch out for. This team's answer around speed control is that it actually has a lot of priority between the Choice Band Extreme Speed as well as Sucker Punch from Kingambit. So you can utilize that in matchups where you feel like your opponent is just constantly going to be faster than you. So yeah, those are just some of the things that I've run into. Let's start the battles. Okay, we got Dondozo, Tatsugiri, Hydreigon, Meowscarada, Sylveon, and Armarouge. I think this is Aaron Trailer's team. I don't remember if the rental was in the same order. But yeah, if you want to see me and Aaron Trailer, the original player who had created that team, we did this fun collaboration where we basically jumped on and kind of explained the theory behind the team, or really Aaron explained the theory behind the team, played some games together. So I'll link that video down in the description below. Anyway, I'd love to get the Arboliva combo off in this one. I think it'd be really cool. Like I want to aim for a Nuzzle ideally with PAWMOT. So I think I'm going to go PAWMOT, Arboliva. Question is who I want as the final two Pokemon. Kingambit. Choice Band Dragonite. I think Banded Dragonite's excellent here, actually. So go with that. Dragonite. We got to worry about Tailwind as well as Trick Room. Dragonite. Kingambit, Arboliva, PAWMOT. Alright, let's go for that. Yeah, I think, like, this is interesting because playing with Revival Blessing, it's not a strategy that's ever existed before in VGC. And so I feel like often when I feature teams, right, a lot of it just comes off intuition off how I've played with similar strategies previously. But Revival Blessing honestly just adds a whole new dimension to the game, which I think is really interesting. Okay, so they're going to go with Armarouge and Sylveon. Now, Hyper Voice is obviously looking pretty scary right now. Got Choice Band Rock Slide. Got Choice Band... Oh, man, wait. Choice Band Giga Impact here looks pretty sweet. Yeah? Could go maybe Fire Terra, Terra Blast. I am not gonna lie, I am intrigued by this idea. Like, Terra, Choice Band, Giga Impact, KO Sylveon, and then just go for Cleave here onto Armarouge. Especially because I could see them going Fire, Terra, Sylveon. You're not really going to expect Choice Band, Giga Impact. The main question I have is whether or not they have, you know, the Dondozo Tatsugiri in the back. Alright, there's a Terra coming out. Show me Fire, Terra, Sylveon, and then we just one-shot it. That would be the best feeling right now. Oh, it's Armarouge going for Terra, though. Okay. Into Dark. That's pretty cool. That makes sense. We do have Brick Break for it, so it's not the end of the world, but that's neat. Okay. We're just going to get Giga Impact off here. Would have been more satisfying to get the one-hit knockout onto the Pokemon that Terra'd, but alas, can't complain too much. And now that you've Terra'd the Armarouge, I have close combat for you. And they go for Trick Room. Okay, that honestly works for me. Because Sylveon is such a critical component to that team under Trick Room that now that we've eliminated it, I don't think they can actually utilize it that well. Yeah, it's like Meowscarada comes out, right? That's not really too good under Trick Room for them. The downside is I kind of have to just burn a turn here with the Dragonite. Like they could obviously go for a fire type attack into this slot right now. I could Brick Break. I'm not sure that KOs though, which is the problem. Leech Seed won't actually work against them. At least, sorry, won't work against Meowscarada. I'm kind of interested in Brick Break here, honestly, on Armarouge. We also have the Assault Vest here. Oh, almost KOs. Okay. Armarouge just commits a Psychic, though. Does not go for Armor Cannon, which I'm surprised about. I get crit there. That's okay. Have to recharge. And Flower Trick. Okay, makes sense. Yeah, like, that's why I wanted to prioritize KOing Sylveon, right? Because if we get rid of Sylveon, then it really just cannot... like, Sylveon's such a critical component to that team, I would say. And so, yeah, I can go into PAWMOT now. And I can just go for Fake Out. Ooh, we can also Revival Blessing, right? Wait, that's kind of cool. We can just Revival Blessing the Dragonite back up. I guess the question is whether or not I want to go for it this turn. 3 turns of Trick Room. It's fairly easy to just Fake Out here into Meowscarada. But, like, the reason why Revival Blessing is actually interesting right now is because it's like a guaranteed opportunity. So I'm actually down to go for it. I'm going to go for Revival Blessing. And then just go for... What's the best move to cover for any switch in? Iron Head here is okay, because I don't think they're going to have Dondozo or Tatsugiri in the back. Yep, Armarouge switches out. Hydreigon here makes sense. Yep. And now we have a, Choice Band Extreme Speed pressure in this endgame, which is pretty cool. Iron Head does over half. Wonderful. There's Revival Blessing. Very nice. So we'll bring Dragonite back up. And they're going to Flower Trick us. Perfect. Okay, that's A-okay with me. One of the things we can take advantage of is the fact that neither Pokemon carry Protect. So it's pretty easy for me to just close combat Meowscarada right now. And just Iron Head. Once again. Or we can just Brick Break here, actually. Into Hydreigon. Excellent. Hydreigon faints. Turn 1 was really one-off, like, the Choice Band Giga Impact, I think. Like, that's just a big surprise, right? PAWMOT gets close combat off. Focus Sash Meowscarada. Yep. Excellent. And I still have the Arboliva. I brought it mainly to beat the Dondozo-Giri combination, just in case they wanted to go for that. Because like what we can do is, you know, go for Nuzzle. And they're going to reverse Trick Room. That's smart. But the thing is, now I think I kind of have you pinned. PAWMOT offensively is actually really good here, because I could just Sucker Punch Meowscarada and Close Combat Armor Rouge. So yeah, don't discount the amount of damage that PAWMOT can do with Close Combat. It's honestly really nice. So we'll Close Combat into Armor Rouge here and Sucker Punch into Meowscarada. And ultimately, yeah, I think like they set up Trick Room but got very little value out of Trick Room, right? Like Meowscarada and Hydreigon aren't exactly Pokemon you want under Trick Room. Wide Guard comes out, but we don't really have any spread moves to use here. But it does bypass Sucker Punch onto that slot, which I think is smart. But yeah. It's interesting. I didn't expect to use PAWMOT as like such an offensive option in this game, but it's going to end up essentially almost picking up 2 knockouts, right? Brought the Meowscarada down to Sash, and now it's going to KO the Armor Rouge. So it would be a completely different game if the Sylveon committed like a Protect on turn 1, for example. But the nice thing about Choice Band Giga Impact is that you can go for it, because yeah, with PAWMOT you can just revive your Dragonite later on, and you know, getting a big one-hit KO onto something that isn't expecting to get knocked out is a very, very big deal in a best of one Terra format, in my opinion. So yeah, and in the end, I mean, we had all 4 Pokemon around as well. So yeah, just mainly wanted to cover for both the Tailwind and the Trick Room option in that team composition, and we can take advantage of the fact that most of the Pokemon don't carry Protect. Okay, next match here, and this is the Tyranitar Lycanroc team that's been quite popular, but I don't think it's the rental that I had used a while back, because the Pokemon look like they're in different order. So, it's interesting because Focus Sash on PAWMOT can be broken here by the Sandstorm. I think Volcarona we don't bring into this matchup. Choice Band Dragonite's pretty sweet. Honestly, I think it's probably going to be the same 4 Pokemon from the previous matchup. Although with Hydreigon, it's interesting because against like Unaware Dondozo, you can just keep launching Draco Meteors. Oh, actually Specs Hydreigon's worth considering for that. Banded Dragonite, what does this provide me against the Lycanroc combo? Yeah, maybe we actually don't bring Dragonite. Like I'm thinking PAWMOT, Hydreigon, Kingambit, and Arboliva. And I don't hate... PAWMOT does give me Fake Out plus Close Combat on turn 1, but it'll likely bait out a Flying Terra from Tyranitar. Okay, wait, I'm down for PAWMOT, Kingambit, Choice Specs, Hydreigon, and then Arboliva. Low-key, I could lead Arboliva here into Tyranitar plus Lycanroc too, I think. Alright, let's try this out. I think the interesting consideration when you use PAWMOT is, do you want to lead with it? Because if so, you might not get a Revival Blessing off, right? Because PAWMOT just might take too much damage or faint before any of your other Pokemon faint. But in this battle, I think it makes sense because so many Tyranitar Lycanrocs like don't carry Protect on either Pokemon. Yeah, and that's the lead I want to be prepared for, and that's exactly what they go for. Okay. Turn 1's interesting though, because like I said, like Terra Blast Tyranitar here definitely could be a thing. We could Fake Out Iron Head, KO Lycanroc immediately. Which I don't think would be terrible here. I could also Terra PAWMOT. Oh, that's actually a really interesting consideration, because it's like, how valuable is the Terra my other Pokemon? I actually don't think it's that important. So by going for a Terra here, it just allows me to like survive Tyranitar, unless they go for a Dark type attack, but that seems really unlikely. And what it allows me to do is just turn 1 Fake Out Lycanroc and Iron Head it. Now, maybe my opponent has Protect on their Lycanroc set, but basically I'm going for Terra here because Terra Blast Flying Tyranitar is fairly common. Tyranitar doesn't really love going up against either of these mons right now, and I just want PAWMOT to survive for another turn, because if they Terra Blast me, then I'm brought down to Focus Sash and then Sandstorm KOs me. Okay, yep. They're gonna Terra. But if Lycanroc has Protect here on turn 1, things get pretty ugly for me, I think. I'm like hedging off the fact that most Lycanrocs don't run Protect. So there's the Flying Terra as expected. Yep. Okay, that's fine. I can Nuzzle you. Beautiful. No Protect. Okay, so that should be a KO onto Lycanroc, which is huge. And there's Terra Blast. Yep. I don't think this brings me down to Sandstorm range. I hope not. Okay, perfect. So yeah, I went for a defensive Terra mainly because I didn't think the Terras, like the rest of the Terras on the team, really mattered too much. So decent turn 1. I have Nuzzle now with PAWMOT, so I could just paralyze the Tyranitar, but maybe they didn't bring Dondozogiri. They went Annihilate Rotom. It's normally one of those two cores. I love to see Dondozogiri because I want to show off the PAWMOT strat with Nuzzle. So seeing like Tatsugiri coming in here would make me very happy. Because yeah, I think if they brought Dondozo Tatsugiri, I'm in a very, very good position. Depends, I guess, if they switch out Tyranitar, but it's going to be Rotom coming out, okay. So this is Choice Specs Rotom often. I don't know, I mean, since it's not the same team, might not be the case. I do think switching into Hydreigon here feels fine to tank an Overheat. The debate is, do I want to consider switching out PAWMOT? Just wondering about like funky things I can do with the Revival Blessing. Because another play I could make simply is just Nuzzle Tyranitar right now and switch out. I think that's fine. I don't think we need Revival Blessing as much in this game. Oh, Tyranitar switches. Okay, so I get a free paralysis on whatever's coming in, which I think is really good. It's Annihilate. Oh, that's amazing. Choice Specs Hydreigon is so well positioned now. Also, I think there's a chance then that PAWMOT doesn't even faint this turn, which is really nice. Okay. Yeah, like Nuzzle plus Sandstorm is actually decent chip damage here as well. And they overheat. Perfect. I did a good amount. I did a very good amount. Okay. Yep, now because of that Nuzzle, Sandstorm damage goes PAWMOT, Hydreigon, Annihilate. Cool. Or Rotom Annihilate. Excuse me. You would think Rotom maybe switches out here into Tyranitar. I could Nuzzle it. I could also just switch PAWMOT out into Kingambit right now. I don't hate that. I just want to KO Annihilate right now, I think, right? I guess I could go into Arboliva. It's not like this is doing much for me in this current position anyway. But then I do give up some offensive pressure. Okay, I don't mind paralyzing Tyranitar should it switch in. And then just Draco Meteoring into Annihilate. Oh, I like that play a lot. Okay. Yeah, they stay in with the Rotom slot. Smart. Yeah, I think that's a really good play. Because Overheat's still doing sizable damage, right? So I get Close Combat off. Or sorry, Draco Meteor off. But yeah, it's not going to KO. That's a really good play on their end, in my opinion. They overheat into Hydreigon, but we survive. Okay. Cool. Given that... It's interesting because I keep bringing Arboliva, trying to cover for Dondozogiri, but I think it's worth bringing. Like, Dragonite in this endgame would have been, you know, better for me, but that's fine. Okay, I honestly really would like to conserve PAWMOT if I can. I'm down to switch out into Kingambit right now. I don't think another Draco KOs Tyranitar though, but I could Nuzzle Draco that slot, right? Okay, I'm down for that. Rotom switches, yep. Hopefully Nuzzle Draco KOs here, and then it's like you're stuck with Rotom plus Annihilate. I don't think you can really win the endgame with that. I guess I could miss Draco Meteor here. That would actually be pretty bad, right? But PAWMOT's putting in so much work, not even for Revival Blessing. Okay, nice. We don't miss. Sweet. Arboliva. It's actually not bad into Annihilate, honestly. I think, like, the awkward thing for them is, do you lock... What attack do you lock yourself into, right? Do you really want to click Overheat? Feels like you kind of have to click Thunderbolt. 16 down to 7. Took 9 damage there. 21 down to 11, so 10. So I can actually survive one more tick of Sandstorm with Hydreigon. This PAWMOT's so fun though. Like I honestly only really saw it as like a Revival Blessing user, but after playing this, okay, actually Sandstorm just subsides after here. So let's think about this. They're gonna have to lock into some attack. We already have the speed advantage, so I think it's pretty easy to just switch Hydreigon out. I'm fine going into Arboliva here. And just Close Combat into Rotom. I think that's fine. Because we got that Nuzzle off into the Annihilate, it's a really big deal because essentially, like, I've got Dark Pulse, you know, for this endgame. If I'm my opponent, I'm locking into Thunderbolt and Close Combat right now. on. So I would, Thunderbolt into the Hydreigon slot, close combat into, Thunderbolt into the PAWMOT slot, close combat into the Hydreigon slot. So Arboliva hits the field. We get close combat off into Rotom. That did a crazy amount of damage. Wow. Okay, nice. We'll take it. Rotom actually commits the overheat onto PAWMOT though. Okay. I guess it would have been interesting if they went for Arboliva, but I still feel pretty confident in winning the battle from that position because then I just can go for... I guess I could lose off a Draco Meteor Miss. The question is then, like, I could Sucker Punch Dark Pulse into Annihilate, but am I confident in that KOing? They actually opt for Brick Break here. Okay. It's fine. Seat Sower activates. Got Sitrus Berry. Yep. Since Sandstorm subsides here... and I have Leech Seed plus the grassy terrain. I basically don't want to lose the game off of Draco Meteor Miss right now, and because they have Specs Overheat, that could actually be pretty scary. So I'm actually down to Dark Pulse Rotom here, and then Leech Seed into Annihilate. Like, Brick Break is scary, but after the recovery, Arboliva should survive another one, and they kind of have to KO Hydreigon here. So even if we miss Leech Seed this turn, I don't think it's the end of the world. Yeah, whereas like missing Draco if I target Annihilate could be a disaster. Because if I had missed there, then they just Brick Break KO Hydreigon and then Rotom actually gets that overheat off into Arboliva. But Leech Seed connects, beautiful. Cool. So they're slowly getting recovery, but so are we. We're just gonna heal all the way back to full. We've got Giga Drain as well and slowly stealing away Annihilate's HP. So it takes a little bit longer to get to the win here, but I think we should be good. How fast is... like, basically, I don't know if my Kingambit outspeed... no, there's no way. We're only 70 speed here. And we have Supreme Overlord, so I think it's better to just Sucker Punch here into Giga Drain. I'm glad to feature Arboliva outside of just the matchup against... ooh, that did so much. And it gets parried, unfortunately. But yeah, there's no way to win there, because you either Brick Break KO the Kingambit and then Giga Drain KOs the Annihilate, or Brick Break, maybe you crit Arboliva, but then another Sucker Punch just KOs Annihilate if they're Choice Scarf on that set. So, yeah. Cool. I feel like the game maybe could have been a little bit cleaner. I feel like I really should have just had it won as soon as, like, Annihilate got paralyzed. But I think, like, their decision to stay in with Rotom and get that second overheat off was really smart. And I think, they played well, yeah, towards like the end game there to keep themselves in the game. But yeah, we had a big enough lead that we were able to still win. And I mean, PAWMOT's been amazing, less so for Revival Blessing, more so just for like fake out Nuzzle and close combat pressure. Like it did so much damage there into the Rotom. It was able to, flinch the Lycanrocs. We were able to just pick up that knockout immediately. And yeah, like I wanted PAWMOT around, which is why I went for the Ghost Terra, and like the defensive Terra, I think really allowed PAWMOT to put in so much more work in that game. Okay. I'm already really happy because I feel like we featured so many fun components already. Like PAWMOT got Revival Blessing off in game 1, Choice Band Giga Impact happened in game 1. We had the Arboliva in that end game previously. This one's interesting. It's another Tyranitar Lycanroc team, but this one is Hydreigon, Indeedee, Amoonguss, and Armarouge. So 2 clear duos in Tyranitar Lycanroc and the Indeedee plus Armarouge. I think generally Dragonite's not very good here once again. Extreme speed, especially into Psychic terrain, is quite poor. I think like Kingambit's solid. The problem is we're Steel Terra, right? So Armarouge is going to be a problem. I don't love Volcarona either. It's a shame. Like I would love to bring Volk, but I mean it is Grass Terra Volk, but that's so weak into like we don't really do that much damage, so I don't think it's worth it. So I think it's the same for Pokemon. Well, I guess it's like how good is Arboliva? It is Fire Terra, so honestly not bad here. I think PAWMOT plus Kingambit is still solid as a lead here. We'll go Hydreigon Arboliva again. But this matchup feels similar to the last one, but harder in my opinion because of the Armarouge. I don't know, maybe I could have brought Dragonite out. Because you don't necessarily have to rely on extreme speed. Like, you could just use it for Banded Giga Impact, but my problem is that the Dragonite doesn't pick up a one-hit knockout onto either Tyranitar or Lycanroc. Whereas Kingambit can pressure both. It's Indeedee and Lycanroc. That's interesting. It's very interesting. Okay. I think debate number one is, do I want to Terra my Kingambit here? Because there's a good chance they just close combat me, right? Follow me into close combat certainly makes a lot of sense. It still will do a ton of damage into me, but... And I could just, like, close combat Lycanroc. I guess Lycanroc could even protect here, I don't know. NDD is not that scary, especially with Hydreigon in the back. Like, I'm thinking close combat, Terra, Cleave. If NDD follow me is great, gets redirected, KOs that. Uh-oh. What Terra is this? I don't like that. Ghost? Huh? That's sick. I just featured Fairy Terra NDD, but I really didn't think it would be offensive on this kind of comp. Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. I don't know if it's really that bad for me. Oh, are they just doing it defensively? Oh, smart. That is very smart. And they have Psychic Fangs. That's really cool. Okay. Yeah, what a nice Terra there. I'm used to... Yeah, it's funny after using, like, NDD with Fairy Terra, like, offensively, but it's obviously very good defensively as well. Okay, so it's a great turn for them. I'm down to switch into Hydreigon. Oh. Arboliva? No, it's fine. Hydreigon. We'll Iron Head here to Lycanroc. Very cool. How was I supposed to beat this as a lead? I feel like this is still my best lead, honestly. My turn one just wasn't very strong. Yep, follow me. Okay. Nicely done. They don't get baited. They close combat. That slot instead. Yeah, this is looking pretty rough, honestly. The thing is, PAWMOT, it's not like I could have KO'd NDD. That was such a good defensive Fairy Terra on turn one. That was really well done. So now you can bring out Tyranitar. You don't even need to bring out Tyranitar, honestly. The problem right now for me is that I think, like, Psychic Terrain blocking PAWMOT's Fake Out here is causing me a lot of issues, because it means I can't just, like, Fake Out and get a free attack off. And Lycanroc actually has incredible coverage here, since most of our Pokemon are weak to fighting. Psychic Fang's also really interesting. Makes sense given that you have NDD on the team. Yeah, I don't think Volcar Dragonite really would have contributed much either towards winning the battle. It's more just how I execute with the Pokemon that I brought. Maybe I should just be bringing Arboliva, like Charm immediately or Leech Seed immediately. It's not bad. Anyway, let's see what they bring out. Oh, it's a Mungus. Interesting. Would not have expected that. Okay. Could just Rage Powder. You could even just Spore here. Should I switch out an Arboliva? I don't think so. I think Arboliva can actually beat Lycanroc if it doesn't take Chip. So we should just aim to get damage here onto it. But they do Rage Powder. Okay, nicely done. I mean, I don't expect Hydreigon to survive close combat here, but I guess we'll see. Oh, they target the Kingambit slot, though. That's huge. Okay. Maybe this is doable. Is there any way I could get a Revival Blessing off in this game? Maybe I should have clicked Snarl there. Because if I clicked Snarl, it would have broken Sash on Lycanroc, and then Arboliva could maybe finish it off. Okay. 2 turns of Psychic Terrain, which isn't good. I'm honestly thinking switching a PAWMOT right now and then Charm into Lycanroc. The reason for this is that I don't really see a very clear path to victory. I mean, the path could have been hoping Hydreigon survives close combat from Lycanroc. I just don't know that damage calc off the top of my head. So we're going to switch into... They're going to Rage Powder there. That's fine. Arboliva ignores the Rage Powder. So presumably they're going to close combat PAWMOT here. Oh, they target Arboliva. Okay, wait, hold on. That's a really big deal. Wait, this is so huge because the terrain changes now as well. Oh, Giga Drain there would have just, like, won it, though, I feel like. I think the interesting thing now is, do you switch out your Lycanroc? Because I have Fake Out plus Giga Drain, for example. I also now potentially can think about a Revival Blessing. Like, I lean towards trying to KO Lycanroc here, but they could obviously switch it out. Armor Rouge is what I was thinking they might have in the back. Fake Out. I'm down to Fake Out Giga Drain here. I think they should switch Lycanroc out, but if they get greedy here, it would be huge. And they might be worried about, like, me getting a Revival Blessing off, so they might be like, okay, I need to stay with both Pokemon and target the PAWMOT with both of my Pokemon currently. So let's see. I don't know, I could play defensively, like, I guess, like, Lycanroc is at -2 attack. That's huge. Unless Lycanroc has Protect here. Okay, Hydreigon's the last one. That's fine. That's okay. No Protect. Okay. This should KO. Fake Out plus Giga Drain. Nice. Now PAWMOT can go for a Revival Blessing. Which I honestly wasn't expecting to get off in this game, which is a pretty big deal. So that's huge. Lycanroc, even without Tyranitar, caused me so many problems in this game, though. Jeez. Amoonguss will come back out, and they can obviously go for Rage Powder to redirect a close combat away. I don't think they can one-shot Arboliva, though. And I still have Hydreigon in the back, fully healthy. I actually honestly forgot about that. So I'm going to Revival Blessing here. We'll get Kingambit back as a result, and then I'm just going to Leech Seed into the Hydreigon slot right now. Like, it's tough for Hydreigon, right? Because what can you really go for? They've already committed their Terra, and you don't want a Draco Meteor in this position because then you're just going to be at -2 special attack, right? So it feels like they kind of have to Dark Pulse. Maybe Heat Wave if you have it. So yeah. But I think what was huge was the turn where they close combat Arboliva, and it, like, my PAWMOT got to come in for free. Like, that was absolutely incredible. So now we get to revive Kingambit, which is awesome. Oh, it's the Focus Energy set. Okay. That's kind of scary. And I missed Leech Seed. Oh my gosh. Wait, I could actually still very easily lose this given that. Oh man. Okay. They're just gonna Rage Powder again, right? So I'm down to Nuzzle here, because then you have to play through full paras in every subsequent turn. And I would think they target Arboliva here. So I'm down to Protect this turn. It's not like getting the Leech Seed off here is very crucial anyway, but that Focus Energy is actually the one set I can lose to in this endgame, and yeah, missing means I'm on more of a timer, which is not ideal. Just don't have that much offense to break through this duel right now. It's a really fun game, though. Like, what an interesting matchup. Okay. Oh, Rocky Helmet. Oh, and it's Heat Wave. Oh, interesting. Focus Energy with Heat Wave, huh? Snarl isn't even really that good here. We are max speed. I wonder if crit Heat Wave just, like, how much it does to Arboliva. Basically, it's like they can't Heat Wave and Draco here. So if we win this, I don't even know if they're max speed here, but I'm just gonna Draco and Leech Seed Hydreigon. Yeah, it sucks because if I hit that earlier Leech Seed, I would have had so much of Hydreigon's HP stolen throughout the last couple of turns. No full para from Amoonguss, okay. Rocky Helmet also messed with what I was trying to go for, and I missed the Draco. Oh. That sucks, but I am honestly okay with how I played this game. Like, we had some pretty rough misses, but I think I put myself in a decent position to win. It's just unfortunate. Leech Seed finally connects, but I think it's a little bit too late. Yeah. Oh, that's a bummer. Nicely played on their end, though. The Focus Energy Hydreigon set, by the way, is something that's popping up specifically to counter, like, Dondozo, but it was also just quite good here in general. Yeah, like, everything went wrong for us those last couple of turns. Like, they had Rocky Helmet, meaning that PAWMOT didn't get an extra attack off or give me the chance to close combat there. So I couldn't get a Nuzzle off, though Heat Wave's guaranteed to crit here. I don't know, though, with the Assault Vest, is there any chance I survive? I guess I gotta go for it, right? I think we could still win this game if they get, like, full parried here on the Amoonguss and Brick Break just KOs Hydreigon, so that's what I'm gonna go for. And I might as well just protect here. Yeah. Okay, no para. That's probably game over then. I guess I could have also banked on surviving and just gone for Cleave onto the Amoonguss slot. But yeah, the fact that they had Focus Energy with Heat Wave was what made this a disaster, because fire coverage was amazing into this end game. But yeah, that KO's Kingambit, so I didn't really have an out here. And so it's Focus Energy with Scope Lens, so it's guaranteed to crit basically after a single one. So, which is a really cool strat, honestly. It's a very, very cool strat. I don't know if I actually would have 100% won this game anyway, even if I hit that Draco and Leech Seed, but yeah, it was like this end game was basically the worst case scenario in this end game. We actually did survive the Draco there. Activate Seed Sower, but Amoonguss probably has Pollen Puff here. Oh, that actually did really good damage too. But it's still, yeah. Like, you can see if we hit that early Leech Seed, Hydreigon would just be at such lower HP, right? And they have Clear Smog. Okay, that makes sense. So, that happens. You're going to miss sometimes. This team obviously has moves that can miss. Heat Wave, Leech Seed, Draco Meteor, Snarl, Rock Slide. None of these moves are, like, super low accuracy, but, of course, there is some risk associated with it. So, games like this, you just kind of got to look back and be like, okay, well, yeah, I got unlucky. Where else could I have improved my play? I think Pokemon-wise, what we brought was fine. I think I lost maybe a little bit too much on the early game. I think, like, it's just tough without knowing, like, the Terra on NDD, right? Like, I'm not really going to cover for Fairy Terra, follow me on turn 1 of the battle. So, yeah. But it's just a shame because I felt like I put myself in a really good position to win that end game. But also kudos to my opponent because I think they clawed out of a really difficult situation. Like, and yeah, it was like a bunch of, if it was just a standard like Life Orb Hydreigon or Specs Hydreigon, I think that game was definitely over. But they had the Focus Energy set with the Rocky Helmet on Amoonguss. Amoonguss never got parried. We missed the Leech Seed, missed the Draco. So yeah, a lot that went wrong ultimately. But like, it's also not easy being down 2-4 and finding a path to victory. And I think my opponent played that end game basically perfectly, right? And so even though we got a little bit unlucky, they also played incredibly well to put themselves in that position to win the battle. And so, yeah, like kudos to them. And that was honestly a really fun one either way. But I just wish we could have seen how it would have played out if at least we hit the first Leech Seed or the Draco. But yeah, either way though, that set also I think made the Focus Energy Hydreigon look really, really good. And so that's definitely a set we'll be trying at some point at the channel. Okay, this is a pretty hyper-offensive team. Kind of reminds me of Sageon's 2014 team. Talonflame, Garchomp, Gardevoir, but there's Mousehold, Golden Go, and Dragapult. I'm a little bit worried about our speed control in this one, honestly. They have Tailwind, which isn't good. I think we need to use defensive Terras to survive some big attacks, essentially. Oh, I really don't like this matchup. Dragapult's pretty scary as well. Haven't really been able to bring Volk out today, but I just don't think it's that good. Quiver Dance doesn't really save me here. Suppose we have Grass Terra. I am a little bit worried about the Mousehold. So I'm thinking, do I even want PAWMOT? It would just give me Fake Out on turn 1, that's it. I don't know, maybe something like the Dragonite, Kingambit, Hydreigon, and PAWMOT. I don't think Arboliva's really that... Well, I guess it's not bad into Garchomp. That's the main one, though. Okay. Basically, I'm just going 3 strongest Pokemon on the team plus Arboliva, which can Revival Blessing one of them later on in the game, potentially, depending on where we are. So let's see. Okay. What are we aiming to do on turn 1? Figure out how to survive all their offense. Dragapult, Mousehold. I mean, I don't hate seeing this, honestly. Like, I am down to just go for Terra, Extreme Speed, and Cleave. But, I don't know. Maybe there's some surprise sets here. I don't know if Mousehold is EV to survive. I have no idea how much HP or defense investment you would need to survive Banded Extreme Speed from Terra Dragonite. It's an interesting calc. But basically, the way I looked at this matchup is my opponent has a lot of Pokemon that can hit me for super effective damage. So I need to be able to have defensive Terras to survive the onslaught of that on like turn 1. But we also have a lot of good damage in return, and the upside is we generally have a little bit more bulk relative to our opponent. So they're going to go for a Terra, Dragapult. Mousehold normal Terra there could have been really bad, by the way, but it's going to be Dragonpult, which is fine. Dragonpult. Gets rid of the ghost typing, which means I can extreme speed you next turn, which is very nice. Now I'm curious if it's supportive Mousehold. But either way, I don't think you can one-shot me on turn 1 onto either Pokemon with Dragapult. Okay, no Protect. That's good. So we get Banded Extreme Speed off. Beautiful. Goodbye, Mousehold. Be gone. That's a KO. And they just go for darts. Okay, I think that's an excellent turn for us. Cleave isn't going to KO, but it's going to do a ton of damage. That feels like Choice Band damage. Well, if you are Choice Band, I'm just 1 extreme speed away from KOing you, which is good. I can Sucker Punch that slot too as well. Yeah, I think the lack of like a Protect on Mousehold made things a little bit easier. Because if they had Protect, then they could like follow me the next turn. But I would still extreme speed Sucker Punch, it would be fine, right? So they bring out Gardevoir, okay? Do you have any safe switch-ins into extreme speed? I guess it's Golden Go. I don't mind just targeting the Dragapult slot here and Iron Heading, honestly. Because even if you switch out into Golden Go, it's fine. Because then I'm pretty sure you're Choice Banded, so I can just Sucker Punch you if I KO the Gardevoir. And that's Talonflame coming out. Yeah, I think this game is honestly just over, based off how strong Dragonite looks right now. Like, this is just one-shotting everything. Yeah, jeez. Nice. Let's see what they go for. Dazzling, Moonblast, okay. Yeah, like, you get the KO there, but I KO Gardevoir. Even Gardevoir has Sash or a Babiri, like, Sucker Punch just wins now. Like, the amount of priority we have is exactly how we kind of need to deal with the fact that we don't have good speed control relative to them. Okay, it is indeed Focus Sash on Gardevoir. I feel like I've run into that a decent amount. But now I can bring out PAWMOT, which just has Fake Out. So we can just Fake Out Gardevoir, Sucker Punch into Dragapult. Yeah, and I'm like fairly sure that's Choice Banded. Even if it's not, like, you're going to have to Sucker Punch at some point, right? Having Fake Out support here is quite nice. So just Fake Out plus Sucker Punch. And they end up forfeiting. Yeah. That was interesting. I was honestly kind of scared based on team preview, but then Dragonite just kind of just KO'd everything, which was very nice. So yeah, that game was definitely on the shorter end. But overall, you know, I'm really happy to have featured this team. I think I wish we could have shown off like the PAWMOT Arboliva, specifically Arboliva into Dondozo Tatsugiri. But Arboliva looked really good even in the matches where like Dondozo Tatsugiri, we never ran into Dondozo Tatsugiri, but in all the games Arboliva came out in, I actually felt like it was really solid. And if we didn't miss that initial Leech seed earlier on in that previous game, I think Arboliva would have carried me to a victory. Because you saw like it was, you know, consistently taking some of Hydreigon's HP, and then Hydreigon would have to activate like Seed Sower, and then Giga Drain like as a result would like do more damage. And I think if we didn't miss the Draco onto Amoonguss, I could have gone for Dark Pulse, by the way, in that game. Dark Pulse onto Amoonguss instead, but I did want to cover for the option of Amoonguss, like, either one, getting fully paralyzed, in which then I could just win the game immediately into Hydreigon, and two, if Amoonguss protects there and I just Dark Pulse into that slot and they Draco me, I would lose the game, right? And given that they had Focus Energy plus the Heat Wave, I didn't think Hydreigon had Protect on their end, so I was willing to go for it there. And I do think Draco's correct over Dark Pulse, but you can make an argument for both, especially given how things actually played out. The main thing is I didn't want to just throw the game away if I Dark Pulse and Amoonguss protected, right? Whereas with Draco there, it's like, yeah, if the one thing that could go wrong there is a miss, but otherwise, if Amoonguss gets fully parried and Draco connects, game's just immediately over. And even if Amoonguss isn't fully parried, you know, they could protect in that position. Draco onto Hydreigon wins, and if they Rage Powder, which is what they did, if we hit that, then the game should be won by me bringing out Kingambit and Sucker Punch Giga Drain, right, into Protect, I think. But I would have needed to hit the Leech Seed a little bit earlier as well. So, yeah. Wish we could have featured Volcarona a little bit more in this matchup, or in this episode. We just didn't really run into any teams that I think Volcarona was really good into, but Volk is a pretty solid, I think, like, anti-meta mon into a decent amount of the format right now. So, yeah. Anyway, that's going to be it for this one, so hopefully you enjoyed watching it. I think this was really fun. We got to feature PAWMOT and Arboliva, and they both really impressed me. Just wish we could have ended up winning that third game, but my opponent made a really good comeback there. So, nicely done. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time. All right, peace.